How's it going, everyone? It is I, Anime Outlet, and this is the second part of What If Deku Was a Ghoul. As a quick recap, Izuku has just found his way into Overhaul's base and just met Overhaul for the first time. If you all do end up enjoying this video and this series in general, please like the video, and if you enjoy it even more, then please consider subscribing. It really does help this channel out. So with that out of the way, let's begin with this video. Overhaul would race towards Izuku, his fingers out, about to touch him as Izuku would dodge this attack. Looking towards him, he would ask him to calm down. He just wants a job. As he would end up saying this, Overhaul would stand up, putting his glove back on, before saying, "Do you know how to clean things?" Yeah, I think so. Izuku would say, quite nervous of the leader's just actions towards him, immediately going to attack him, even though he had no idea what Izuku's quirk even was. And because of this, Overhaul would just go and hand him a mop and some water to wash up everything that he was doing and just getting dirty. Where, for the next couple of weeks, Izuku would basically just become the janitor for Overhaul's base, which is honestly quite strange, but it actually did end up happening, with him just mopping around, earning some few extra dollars, and by the end of it, he had $3,000 in his wallet, or basically just in his pocket. He couldn't afford a wallet. Well, I guess now he could. So with these $3,000, Izuku would go up to just some phone store, say Apple or Samsung, and would buy one of the cheaper phones he could find. One that was, say, maybe $300, trying to budget out his just expenses. So with that, Izuku would having his phone, and he would up walking around UA, waiting for Uraraka to show up, where they would end up exchanging numbers with Izuku, saying that he finally was able to get a phone, and Izuku would end up as well hearing about just how Uraraka's family was struggling, and that her rent was about to basically just go up, and they couldn't pay it anymore. And Izuku, of course, being still deep down nice, but having just this ghoul side of him that constantly was dragging him down, dragging his humanity away. And Uraraka was kind of like the light of that, as you have two sides of Izuku. The just happy, normal side, and the ghoul side. The ghoul side of him's dragging him down away from his happier human side, taking away his humanity slowly. And then you have Uraraka on that human side, keeping him over there, keeping him in sort of a balance. So with that, Izuku would just give Uraraka some money to help her pay some of the bills. So as Izuku would be walking back to just one of his camping spots, he would just thinking for a moment before going over to Home Depot, buying a couple of 2x4s and an axe before heading out into just a forest, where he would see a bunch of trees scattered in some sort of pattern. Chopping down a couple of trees, he would make a square before lining up these 2x4s just to be as sort of a line. This line would then help Izuku just mark out where he was going to build his house. This would be a log cabin of the sorts, as he would be placing mud in between the logs to make them stick together. And when he was done, he would use the 2x4s as sort of an easy roof, so he didn't have to chop all of the logs in half. So with Izuku now having a house, his life was seemingly about to turn around, and that's how it seemed, up until one fateful evening, where Izuku would be walking out on the street. As he was walking, all of a sudden, a lady would up bumping into him. As this lady would bump into him, wearing all these nice fancy clothes, Izuku would immediately get up, holding her purse, and was trying to hand it back to her. "Hey, lady, I'm sorry for that. Here's your..." But before he could even speak at all, the lady would jump up, immediately yelling, "You! Why do you have my purse? Thief! You're a thief! Help!" just yelling all these drastic and crazy things, as Izuku would stand there, his eyes widened, just wondering, what? No, that's not it at all. But before he could even speak, a hero would tackle him to the floor, elbowing him in the back of the neck, yelling, "Let go of the damn purse, let me see your hands." As Izuku would slowly put his hands up onto the ground, his arms shaking, wondering why was this happening. He had the power to defend himself, but something was holding him back. As Izuku would end up being knocked out by the hero and would be placed in handcuffs, as a cop car would be called, taking Izuku down to the police station, where he would be put in a holding cell. As Izuku would be sitting there, his eyes would be staring at the floor, all staggered and kind of looking like he was going insane. He didn't mean to do anything. He was just trying to help. Here he was, trying to change his life around. He had been homeless for 11 long, grueling years. And here he was, trying to turn his life around, trying to change things for the better, trying not to be the human killer that he has to be, trying not to, starving himself so he doesn't have to kill, having all of this going against him. And now this, someone lying, not listening to the situation, and calling Izuku a thief. And now he's in jail. Why? No one cared for him. He had been abandoned, and now these people are treating him like a monster, like an animal. Changing for the good, no one was going to be there for them. No one was going to help him or just reward him for any of this. And even if there was a reward, that wouldn't change things. Nothing's going to change about his life. So why change? Why change for the good when that's not going to change your life at all? It's not going to change how bad it is. So why change? Those are the thoughts Izuku would go through as he would be sitting there. And when his trial came up, he would be sentenced for robbery. And because of that, he would find himself in jail for just around a year. His cell phone lying in his log cabin, him stuck in jail for a year, being tried as an adult. And because of that, he was stuck in jail. And as a year would fly by, Uraraka would forget about him, just completely not remembering who he was. Sure, she would remember, but he hadn't contacted her in a year. She would try to contact him again, but it wouldn't work out. So, because of this, as Uku would get out, he would get out changed. He was a lot more physically stronger, and just stronger mentally as well. Well, depends how you look at it. During his time in prison, he had been broken and beaten down, just treated like he was nothing. Because of how young he was treated as sort of an easy target. But he was still tough. As he would be winning all of these fights, it would change how he acted. It would change who he was. And now, he didn't care. He saw what the system was. He saw how it was like. And now, it didn't correct him, even though it was supposed to be a correctional facility. And now, look where he was. Back out on the streets, nowhere to go. And now he's just going to become a criminal again. So, as Uku would be walking along the streets, he would walk past UA. Memories flooding back to his mind, he would stare up towards it. Before he would end up hiding behind a gate, hearing a couple group of students talking as they left the gates of UA, using their student IDs to open the doors before walking out. Izuku would follow him from behind, as he'd be following them, just slowly inching past them. All of a sudden, they would end up splitting up, as he would see one of them going on to their phone, calling their parents to hopefully maybe come and pick them up. However, Izuku would inch closer and closer, hearing the conversation more, as his eyes would turn blood red, as the rest of his eye, the white part of it, turning completely black, as his Kagane would injecting out. 4 tendrils would be out. These tentacles would then fly, stabbing through the victim all together. Just some would slam their phone down. Still one number to go before calling any number. As Izuku would stand there smiling, or he would end up grabbing them, just grabbing them by their neck, and pull them into an alleyway before finally getting a real meal. You see, Izuku's quirk allowed him to eat human flesh, and it basically made him have to eat it. However, there was something slightly different about this ghoul than normal ghouls in Tokyo Ghoul. The Tokyo Ghoul ghouls are basically kind of like aliens. However, Izuku is still a human, just with a different quirk, meaning although normal food like that, every other food tastes disgusting to him, he can still eat it without getting sick. Sure, he might throw up a couple of times if the food's just that disgusting to him, but he can still eat it and he can still survive. So as Izuku would stand there in the alleyway after finishing his meal, he would end up walking out of it, blood riddled all over his arms. So he would take half of it off, but he couldn't. As he would be walking down the street, all of this yellow-haired man, skeleton-looking person would end up seeing him, blood all over his arms. Izuku would walk past him. The man would stop Izuku. "Hey, kid, are you alright?" he would say, his arm on his shoulder. Izuku would merely just shrug him off. Yeah, I am," before walking back out of the city, slowly walking along, having nothing better to do, where he would eventually make it to his log cabin. That, unfortunately, had been raided, destroyed by probably a couple of middle school or high schoolers, and because of this, Izuku would sit down on it, just staring up at the sky, much like he had done just a year prior in that jail cell. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. He would walk back into the city, walking back to that same bar that had a job listing just about a year ago. When he would open up the door, he would see a couple of people sitting there just at the bar, where he would see Dabi, Toga, and Shigaraki. A couple of the members had joined too, being, I believe, Magni and Spinner. However, they just weren't there at the moment, off on another mission. As Izuku would walk in, his hair long and tangled, he would sit down or asking for some water, as if he had been there before. Kirogiri would slide him a glass before asking what brings him there again. "Look, I knew you guys were a villain organization. I think I just wasn't ready to join yet. So how about it? Y'all are still offering a position for a janitor, huh?" Shigaraki would stare at him, sort of intently, wondering, should I accept this? Is it really worth it? And finally he just decided, what the hell. Sure, you can join. Our past raids on UA, they didn't work out too well anyway. Maybe with you, an extra, they might work out. But let's see your skills, Shigaraki would say, cracking his fingers before lunging towards Izuku, as Izuku would dodge this, slapping Shigaraki's both hands away before grabbing onto his wrists, flipping him over, slamming him down onto one of the tables, completely destroying it instantly. Dabi and Toga would both stare at before Toga would get up. "Wow, that's impressive," she would say, looking at Shigaraki, who would be groaning in pain before getting up off of the table. The timbers of the table would chip off. Shigaraki would hold his back, nodding. "Yeah, alright, I guess you can join. You joined quite possibly right at the right time. We were just about to leave to go raid UA. See, they're up at a training camp right now, up in who knows where, some random mountaintop. And, we're gonna raid them. Yeah. Hopefully, we're trying to capture a Bakugo Katsuki. You look quite young. Do you happen to know who he is?" Bakugo. Nope, no idea. Yeah. No idea, huh? That's alright. So, Bakugo Katsuki, we're looking for him, and hopefully any other student you deem strong enough for us to kidnap, alright? See, we're just trying to get as much strong students as possible that possibly look strong and evil to hopefully brainwash them or switch them to become villains. Isuke would end up hearing this as he would nod his head. Alright. So, do I need to learn any plans? Nope, just go up there, fight the students, and try to capture them, alright? Alright. Sounds simple enough to me. Izuku would say. As a portal would open up, whoever Izuku was about to hop through it, Dabi would stop him. Here, let me go light the forest on fire first. You can go in next. A few moments later, Dabi's hand would come through the portal with a thumbs up, as Izuku and Shigaraki would give the go-ahead, as Izuku and Togo, along with Shigaraki, would all hop through the portal, as Magni, Spinner, and Mr. Compress, all who had just arrived as well, would hop through the portal as well, as the raid on the UH summer training camp would then begin. And that is where I'm gonna leave part 2 off of What If Deku Was a Ghoul. Part 3 is going to be even more action-packed with the entire summer training camp, so stay tuned for that as it's going to be coming out tomorrow. Once again, I hope you all did enjoy it, and if you all did, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help this channel out, and it means a lot to me. I upload every single day on this channel, so oh yeah, I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye.